Well, hi everybody and welcome to my shop, and today's the day we're going to fix this radio. Finally. Yesterday, late in the evening, I'm pretty sure I determined what's wrong with it. It's the simplest of things, something I've been a little suspicious of all the way through since I first discovered it's a problem with this type of radio, and that's the 3 volt supply coming from 2 batteries here. Is connected to the radio just through some physical contacts, some spring-loaded contacts underneath this board. And over time those contacts, they lose contact. That's what happens. And a little bit of corrosion and bingo, these batteries won't supply any voltage into the radio. And I very much determined that yesterday by doing voltage tests. And just towards the end of yesterday, if you watched the video, you've heard me talk about this. I popped out the batteries just to double check them. And when I popped them back in, I must have flexed things just right. Contact was made briefly, the radio roared to life, and since then I managed to get it to work for about a minute. And I made a video, so if you've watched my last video, you've seen this radio work. So it's all about the contacts that are buried down under here. So the solution to this is to bypass those contacts with permanent wires. And I got some wires here, and I'm going to solder them to the battery connections right in the battery housing. Bring them up in the radio and solder them to appropriate places in the radio, thereby bypassing the flaky contacts. And that should be a permanent solution. And also, it doesn't require me to disassemble the radio any further, which is very important to me. And also, we're not going to rely on those clips. I could disassemble a radio, clean off these contact points, put the whole thing back together, and you're just on your way to another failure. That's all that would be. But it might be years before it happens. But it might not be. It might be, I think it might work great for like 3 weeks and then start up again. And that would be very disappointing. And the other thing too is, for me personally, with my lack of experience at working on devices of this vintage, I run the risk of introducing more faults just through clumsiness and stupidity. And I've certainly applied a lot of clumsiness and stupidity to this radio already. Maybe I should apologize to those of you who have been watching all the videos, because this last one you're going to see the problem is actually really, really simple. If you're following what I'm saying, you already realize that. But while I'm doing this, I think I'm going to talk about the lessons I've learned here, because I've learned quite a bit. First one is my troubleshooting style. And you got to understand, I'm doing this to entertain myself to a large degree, and hopefully entertaining you at the same time. I take approaches which look like fun to me. They're not necessarily efficient. They're not necessarily the best way. But, I do this for fun. I don't do this, to save up the money and get that operation I need. That's not what's happening here. And I don't need any operations, by the way. And I'm in Canada. You don't have to save up any money. If you need an operation, you're going to get it. So, I could be more pointed with some of those comments, but I won't. So here's what I've learned. I've learned that my approach with an older, simpler radio, which is not a real formulated approach. I don't start on the radio and do everything exactly the same. This is the way I've reasoned it out. You might think in an older radio, much simpler radio, much less parts. Just for fun, maybe there's 9 things that you should check, and if you check those 9 things, 90% of the time you will have encountered what the problem is with the radio. Okay, and there's a lot of truth in that. I'm going to take these batteries out while I do this. And so if there's really just 9 things that if you check through them, you almost always find out what's wrong, then it's just a matter of going through the 9 things. Now you could write the list down, and you could organize it in order of smartest thing to do first and smartest thing to do last. Most likely cause, least likely cause. You could do that. And you could follow that pattern. I'm sure a lot of troubleshooting guys do, especially professionals who have no time to waste. But with only 9 things, you can also just kind of use your sense of your intuition, maybe a little bit of information you picked up from the radio when it's operating, the kind of noise, whatever it might be, and you can guess at which one of the 9 and go through them that way. And it pretty much amounts to the same thing. So you kind of jump right in there, check this, check that. Every time you do a radio, it's a different order of things and all that. And I'd suggest there's a bit more fun in that. And with 9 things, you know what, it doesn't take you that long to get through all 9. Now, what about these radios? Well, I think the problem for me is that there aren't 9 things to check in this. There's about 90 things to check. And if you follow a wild approach where you just, okay, let's check number 52, let's check number 61, let's just go all over the place, which is kind of what I was doing when I started working on this. The end result of that approach is you're going to spend an awful lot of time and not find out very much, because you have to find the 1 in 90 things that are going to give you the information you need to finally settle on what's wrong. In an older, simpler radio, it's just 9 things. So if you happen to pick them all wrong, you get through 9 in an hour or hour and a half or whatever it might be. This one with 90 things. And you know what? I don't know about everybody else, but I make mistakes all the way along. I'm taking meter readings. My meter's not connected correctly. I mean, all kinds of stuff is happening here. So you can't do 90 things on a radio like this and not have made errors in a number of them. Read the circuits wrong, tested the wrong component. I mean, on and on and on and on and on it goes. So you could easily miss. You could do 90 checks on this thing and come up empty-handed, because check number 52 you did wrong and you never knew it. Wow. So these radios really do intimidate me. There's no doubt about it. When I started into this one, I quietly gave myself a 2% chance of fixing it. 2%, which means I really had no expectation. So when I first started working on it, my attitude was, I might as well just poke around here and there. Hopefully there's a loose wire, that's about the limit of my ability here to fix something like this. I'm hoping for a loose wire, and guess what? In the end, it is a loose wire, basically. Lucky me. I'm going to give you a little bit of a close-up on this next little stunt here. Let's try that. Now, I want to solder to which one of these pins? I want to solder to the pin that connects to this transistor here, up through here and down through here. So pin number 2, wire number 2, this is the one I want to connect to. And I'm going to do a super close-up on the camera here because I need it. So bear with me while I turn off the autofocus here. Now I got to solder onto that second wire without generating a short, and it looks easier in the camera than it looks with my eyes, that's for sure. So we'll use the camera here. This is a point where the 3 volts from the batteries shows up. There's no switches involved, there's nothing, it's a straight, essentially, wire path from the positive terminal of the batteries, the 3 volts, right to this spot, and others in the radio. And I picked this spot because, hey, it doesn't get much easier than that. So let's solder into it now. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna wet the wire a little bit with some fresh solder because I don't want to be poking around too long with the soldering iron, and next thing you know, I'll solder all those wires together by accident. So we're just gonna, out of view of the camera, we're just gonna tin that wire a little bit. There we go. And now, there you can see I've got a little bit of solder on it. Here we go. looks like a bit of a weak spot in the wire there, right? Maybe not. Copper's a little interesting, you know. When you bend copper, if you've ever tried to bend break, let's say a coat hanger wire, you know it takes about 10 good bends and the thing is pretty much broken. You try that with copper. You just keep bending it, bending it, bending it, bending it. And what's happening is every time you bend it, the copper, it hardens in the area that bent. It hardens up, and then it will bend in another area. It won't bend in that same area anymore. Here, I'm going to give you the far view again. How about the semi-far view? So if you try to bend break copper wire, you're really into a problem, because it just hardens up all the time, and the bending moves up and down the wire to areas that have not been hardened. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tuck that wire away. Take up the slack on the black one. Now, we just have to make a connection into the battery case, and we're done. That's how easy this is. Unfortunately, I don't do any damage to it doing this, turning it over. Ugh. Okay. Now, black would be to negative. That's going to go up this way. I think I just pulled that wire tight there, and I shouldn't have. There we go. So I got a little tiny piece of wire there to hook the wire to. Probably going to melt some plastic when I do that. And the spring here I can go on to. So I'll start with the black one. I don't want to cut it too short, or the whole thing becomes too hard to handle. So I have a little bit of excess wire, then confound this work by not giving myself enough wire to handle. Okay, so I explained why this kind of radio you just should not be jumping in and running around like I was. You really need to take a formulated approach. And the first step in the formula, if you're inexperienced with the radio like I was, I've never looked at this particular radio, I've never really dove deep into this vintage of a radio before. As I say, I've been thoroughly intimidated by it. So I think if you're going to take one of these on, if I'm going to take one of these on again, I'm going to do a lot more research first. Spend a fair bit of time studying the... Here, I think I can do a close-up on this. A fair bit of time studying the schematic. And really try to understand the circuitry. Now, there were some hints that came early on, okay, which I didn't absorb properly from some of you viewers. Thank you very much. It was pointed out that this radio gets its, let's call it an on signal, from the digital side of the radio. And this one, there's really two complete things in this radio. There's the radio part that we're so familiar with, and then there's the digital side, the computer side, if you like. And these things are powered entirely separately. And this just didn't clue into me when I saw the two AA batteries. From my experience, what I thought I was seeing was a backup supply, something that keeps the clock running. It does do that. Keeps the clock running, and it's really, I looked up at the camera. It's really big on the camera, but believe me, with my eyes, I can barely see this stuff. And it's not that my eyes are bad. Well, at least I don't think they're bad. not bad for somebody who's in his 50s. Maybe that's the way it should be. You know what's bad? My glasses are bad. That's what's bad. I actually have a couple of pairs of glasses here. I got my prescription glasses. They're a little old. Bifocals, which cause me lots of problems. And then I have two more pairs. I picked up sort of random glasses. One I just bought in a drugstore. Stronger glasses than what I'm wearing, and I use that for close-up work. But you know what? They're not working quite so well anymore. What do we get there? Did we get it? Sometimes it's a little tricky to solder to shiny metal like that. Let's tug on the wire and see what we got. Now this is going to flex, of course, when you put the battery in. I don't think there's any problem there. Looks good to me. And we'll go on the other wire. Let's see if I can get my handy dandy camera set up here. Just about. Hey, there we go. Hang on, just going to move around a bit here. There we go. Another thing I learned is, and I've known this for a long time, is encouragement is very helpful. So I'm doing videos of this work that I'm not familiar with, and I'm getting comments from all of you that are encouraging me to keep going, give me lots of ideas. I think they all turned out to be false, but give me ideas, give me things to try, keeping me going. I think on my own, if I were just doing this all on my own, I would have given up a long time ago on this. I wouldn't have kept going. I mean, even the owner of this radio is not very concerned about it. He kind of put it in for repair on a long shot. His comment was, look, if there's anything seriously wrong, you ought to do a lot of work, forget it. There's nothing seriously wrong with this, but I have done a lot of work. But that's kind of... Jeepers creepers. You know what I say? I say there's always a cost to education. Doesn't matter whether you do it in a school, do it as an apprentice, or do it like I do it, just learn by doing. They're going to pay a price for education. And the learn by doing thing is not very efficient. It's not very efficient, but what I personally believe is that it's very important to make a lot of mistakes when you're learning something. Because when you're making a lot of mistakes, you're learning all the things you shouldn't do. And with most things, there's one thing you should do, and about 50 things you shouldn't. And I think it's real important to become familiar with those 50. And somehow I usually do. I'm really good at learning what not to do. You know what I liken it to? I liken it to a trip in the woods. Now let's say you're Bill and you've been told, take the path and go through the woods. And every day you take the path and you go through the woods. Good for you. Efficient, you get to where you're going. I'm getting nowhere with this prying thing here. Let's try the other end. I want to pull this metal out and get the wire in behind it. Yeah. That's not, well, it's also up. Is it tight to something here? Yeah, it's, so I got to get it right in the top here, or even right over the top. It's pretty tight to everything here. Okay, so how is doing this like wandering around in the woods? Well, it's not. Well, it is, and it isn't. Depends how you do it. So if you're the kind of guy who likes to follow the instructions perfectly, you'll get through that woods. You'll get through that woods every day until the day comes when it's so important for you to get through that woods because, you know, grandma's being attacked by a wolf or something. You got to get through the woods. And halfway through the woods, as you run that path that you're so familiar with, something's happened and you've got to get off the path. You get off the path, and now for the first time, you're actually in the woods. And guess what? You're going to be lost. You're going to be lost, and grandma's going to get eaten by the wolf. All because you didn't get lost earlier, so you know how to find your way when you're off the beaten path. And so learning to do things yourself is very much like that. You don't know where the path is, so you wander the woods. You wander the woods, encountering the path now and then. You might not even recognize the path when you see it. But I'll tell you, once you've done that, you might be an old man by the you might be an old man by the time you come out of the woods, though. You can go in that woods under any condition and come out the other side just fine, because you've made all the mistakes. You've explored the whole thing. You can be parachuted into any corner and know where you are and get out of it again. So I think there's a lot to be said for learning by doing, which always involves making a ton of mistakes. And you know, in today's world, because of the internet and all the information on it, it's not getting through there, is it? An awful lot of things which might have been completely mysterious to us about how they work. Our cars, our appliances, everything. This stuff here, everything. This is not working well. Okay, I need a stronger thing to bend that wire out. If I bend that wire out, is it going to no longer make proper contact with the battery? I don't think so. I think it'll make fine contact. I wonder if I can lift it up vertically here. Let's get a hook on it and see if I can pull it upwards. I don't really want to compound my problems here. No, it's not going anywhere. It's bent out a little bit down here. Maybe I can get the wire in behind there. Of course, you know, it runs. You know, maybe I should feed it from this side here. Try it right up. You know what? I'll try feeding it right in here, because there might be enough of a gap there. I can see my pointer coming through. My dental tool. Now, while I'm doing this, I am bending this copper wire, and I mentioned before you can bend copper wire a lot because the bends move, so you never bend the same place twice. But see what happens here? It broke off. Now, why did it break off? It broke off because I nicked the copper with my cutter when I was removing the insulation. The technique I used often puts scores the copper, and when it does that, there's a spot for cracking to start right there. So here, I've done this. This looks better. I don't think I've scored the copper this time. I'm a little more careful. So contrary to what I was saying about you can bend copper a lot because the bends move up and down the piece of copper, if you have a nick in it, it's probably going to fail. This is better off with me watching the camera shot than watching the real thing. So let's see if I can get that in there now. Doesn't want to go in. Doesn't want to go behind that piece. I thought this would be a snap, but you know, every little thing's got its challenges here. Not getting too far, am I? I could tack this wire on, but I'm afraid that won't be enough. If I tack it on, I'm pretty sure it's going to come off. I really want to get it looped around this piece here. It's interesting, but you're watching the camera view, of course. That's all you have to watch. But you're getting a much better view of this than I am when I look with my eyes at it. I've said that a few times now. What else can I babble on about here? Is there an obviously better way of doing this? And I'm not seeing it. Let's see if I can powerhouse my way under there with something a little bigger. When I'm doing that kind of stuff, I have to look at the actual work. And again, I can't see the details you can see on the camera. So you could be looking at the camera going, whoa, 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 it can't go there. I can't see it. I can't see the detail. I really need some good magnifiers on my glasses. You know what? Which I have, by the way, but they're broken. And I need to take the 5 minutes to fix them. Doggone it all if I haven't gone ahead and done that. Okay, I'm getting nowhere here. And I'm getting in the mood to be rougher and rougher with it, which is maybe not the best thing. This is deep down in the radio from the other side, so getting down here with the wire from the other side is not an option. This is really the place to put it. Let me get a... maybe I can pry it with this guy. I'm definitely pulling it out. How come I keep slipping off? Wow. Okay, that's got to be enough space for that wire to go in behind now. Not going to go like that, is it? Often, as you know from watching my other videos, when I'm doing this, I start thinking about doctors doing surgery, and it freaks me out every time. They must have endless problems with things not being where they expect them, and like arteries and veins, and hey, I'm getting under there. Let me look on the screen. Oh, it looks like I could push it right under now. Like it's sticking out far enough. I want to go through. Isn't this annoying? I mean, in my case, the patient is not on life support while I'm doing this, so I can just get up and walk away. I can stick him in another room for 3 days and think about it. Boy, you can't do that when you're actually doing this on a living thing. As I say, the more I do this work, the more freaked out I get that there are people who do this to people who do this to people. Yeah, I hope they don't take the random 9 approach I was talking about earlier when you go to see the doctor. Simplest thing in the world, just take a minute. Oh, it got through. It got through, but, you know, part of it is this wire is so light. As I push it, it just bends. Oh man, I'm just going to shove this whole thing out the window shortly. Okay, back the other way. Let's see, what time is it? It's 8:30 in the morning here. I got up nice and early to come down and do this. I got a busy day ahead of me. See, I can't get the wedge in from that side. Okay, that's ready to go. Higher. Whoop. Right in there. Okay, now. Come on. In you go. Come on. You can do it. You've done it! My gory gosh. Hopefully the wire won't break off now because I flexed it so much. Oh, wow. Wasn't that a bigger hassle than expected? And again, these wires are going to interfere with the battery door. Watch. Watch this, yeah. That's what's going to happen here. I may have done a dumb thing. There's some better holes to put it through than this one. Oh my gosh. Okay, come along, little soldering iron. Let's solder that wire on there. Now I want to pull it up all the way as high as possible, up over the top if I could, but I doubt I can do that. This will mess it up if I don't want it on the where the battery slides in and out. Oh, it's amazing how much more I can see on the camera. We almost got it. Okay, that's good enough. Any more monkeying and I think I'm going to break it. I can't see for that little bit of insulation there. Come on. This is the point where I accidentally cut the wire. There we go. It's just at the top there in a good spot. I'm going to goop it up too much solder. I want this to go quick. Here we go. That'll look good. Doesn't look good at all. Okay. Let's try it again. Looks like crap. Even the other one doesn't look very good. This one over here. I don't think it's on there. Okay, this is going to cause some melting this time. Okay. I hope that got soldered on there that time. Oh, it's as stiff as can be. Okay, man. We're man and woman. we're one step away from trying this thing out. How about that? Excitement abounds. So, let me put you back up on that perch here. Okay, let's some bits and pieces of wire left in there. Get them out. Whoa, where'd that go? Right into that little crack there. Just turn the radio over, it'll fall out. Now, I put the batteries in with the radio like this. I don't think so. I want to be able to kind of act on it right away. So let's set it back the way it was. All pulled apart here. Switch is off. I want to make sure of that. Okay, and I'll put in the power supply here. So it's now this plug is wonky too. Sometimes it's making contact, sometimes it's not. So if it doesn't work immediately, blame it on that thing right away. So here we go. Switch is off. Battery's going in. Voltmeter's coming out. See if our 3 volts made it. Cam on 20 volts DC. I should see 3. Please show me a big 3. Yay, look at that. We're cooking. We're cooking with gas. Actually, we're cooking with electricity here. Actually, I don't want to cook anything. No cooking, no cooking. Forget the cooking comment. No cooking of things. Okay, we'll just tuck this wire down where we think it won't get interfered with anywhere. Take off this guy. Volume is... where's the volume control? Volume control. It's gone. The volume control has left us. Where is it? Yeah, oh, there it is. Up in here. There's the volume control. Okay, I'll just move it here. I'll just go. We'll turn it up and down this way. I don't think it's going to work that well. We'll have to actually put it in there. There we are. Okay, so volume about 1/3 of the way up. And ready to turn it on. This is the moment of truth. Everybody's fingers are crossed. Okay, wait a minute. Remember I said if it doesn't work right away, it's probably this. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay, hold on now. Maybe the computer's all messed up in here. Something stupid. Oh, the display is on. Oh. Anybody explain that to me? What happened just now? But there it is. Kinda. Okay. We should tune something in right away. Okay, so let's see if we can make this thing receive something here before we get too excited. Oh, that's working, isn't it? For sure. This is FM here. That's tuning. Kind of weird sounds for FM, isn't it? "183 megahertz. What are we doing way up there?" I don't really know how to operate this radio, so... Oh! Okay, let's... This is FM. Here's FM. That sure sounds like FM to me, boy. What do we got for an antenna here? Maybe we got nothing. 82, 83. There it is. Oh. There it is! 2 thumbs up. Now, my challenge will be to put this thing back together without buggering it up. Such excitement. So I think I'm gonna... Where are we on the clock here? 8:45. I think I can get through the actual complete reassembly here. So... I think I'm going to break the video here, and we'll do another one separately on the reassembly. So fantastic, there it is. So all this time, all that was wrong is the 3-volt batteries were not making contact. They're supplying their voltage to the radio, not at all. That's all it was. All my poking around didn't do any damage, apparently. So I think we might have it working 100% here. Great stuff. So I think I might even post this up and we'll do a reassembly on another video. So thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for all your encouragement. And somebody's going to get a radio back that's working and they'll be surprised. Well, I better not speak too soon. Wait till it's all reassembled. Then we can make that claim. See you later.